We are here at the Cleveland Museum of Art. The show highlights our great masterpiece by George Bellows, his gutsy boxing subject called Stagg Sharkey's that was painted in 1909. Bellows was a very versatile artist, and he did all kinds of painting. He did landscapes, he did seascapes, he did portraits, he did genre scenes, which are paintings of everyday life. And one of the subset of his genre scenes are his sporting subjects. At the time Bellows painted Stagg Sharkey's in New York in 1909, public boxing was illegal. The painting takes place at a location called Sharkey's Athletic Club, which was actually a back room of a bar, and Bellows' studio was directly across the street. The painting is oil on canvas, and there's a wonderful application of paint in the work. When you get up close to it, you see that Bellows is working wet paint within wet paint. It's a very creamy application of paint, and this really, I think, underscores the movement in the painting, because the painting itself seems to be moving. And I think that there's a wonderful sense of you are there immediacy to the canvas when Bellows puts us, the spectator, in the painting by having the horizon line be the ring itself, and so we are among the crowd of people looking up into the composition. And if you look at the individual people in the composition, they're really personality types. They're not portraits. They're characters that Bellows probably knew quite well because he went there so often. Scholars have studied the painting carefully, and it's interesting that Bellows looked at works of ancient Greek and Roman statuary and also paintings by Michelangelo when it came time for him to create the work. We see that he carefully composed it using a triangle. For example, the base of the triangle is the ring, the floor of the ring itself. One leg of the triangle goes through the leg of the boxer on the left, and the other leg of the triangle goes through the extended arm of the referee on the right. And this is a time-honored way for artists to compose works of art, to create a pleasing and stable composition. And the fact that Bellows is able to wed this traditional way, almost academic way of composing a work of art with something that comes across so alive and so refreshing, I think, is part of his genius. Interestingly, Bellows only painted 6 boxing oils during his career, but he's known as one of the greatest artists of the sport. And that's due to the fact that he also made lithographs, and these are prints that were then widely disseminated.
And lithography had sort of been tainted by it becoming very popular in the commercialized world. So posters were being made, ads were being made in the lithographic medium. And so the artists had abandoned it. Bellows is the artist that commits himself to kind of bringing lithography back to the art world, and he does. And in the course of about 9 years, from 1916 to about 1924, he creates 170 different lithographic images. He did all of his boxing images in lithographs as well as painting. And so these early boxing scenes, of which Stagg Sharkey's is one, and we have the Stagg Sharkey's, the print, the lithograph here. These early ones, they were called slumming subjects. For Bellows, it was part of that energy and drive that was the city of New York. I mean, Bellows was interested in the complexities and the contradictions of modern life. And so this sport that is also this kind of underbelly of the city interested him. He was trying to capture modern New York for him. What did American life consist? This was American life for George Bellows.